What's going on, y'all? We checking in on the Headache Gang CEO, number 21, Shilo Sanders, and his NFL draft status. So many people have come out with different videos this week of him not looking good in East-West Shrine Game practices and saying all these things about him. Look, he's an NFL player. It has nothing to do with his pedigree. It has nothing to do with who he is, nothing like that. It has all to do with his ability and what he put on tape. Now, I'm going to keep it real with you all. I think 2023 was his best season in his collegiate career. In 2024, I do think he regressed. I'm going to tell you why. You have to look at different things. What happened in 2023 to 2024? One, they had more film on him in 2024. Anytime you got more film, you can be attacked in different ways. Two, I don't think coverage is his strong suit. I think that if you watch any of his one-on-ones or him in open space as far as covering wide receivers, that's not his strong suit. And number three, it was a different defensive scheme. In 2023, which he picked up really quickly, he was in a more of an active role. In 2024, when they changed defensive coordinators, he was more of a space person. He did not necessarily have when he wasn't injured. He didn't necessarily have that freedom where he could roam and be who he needed to be. He is a in the box safety, and at times when people started to pick on him throughout the season, he then kind of moved into the background as far as being the last man free safety. I've seen him do that more often in 2024 than in 2023. With that being said, that's not his game. He's a downhill player. He's an in the box safety. He's really in a nickel, a weak side linebacker. Now let's go to his draft status. I'm not in the realm of telling people some stuff that I don't believe. I do not believe he's going to get drafted. I don't. Now, this is the thing. It's really hard to get drafted in the NFL, but it's really, really hard to actually play in the NFL. When you watch him on tape, when he comes downhill and his speed, when he kicks it on, he is one of the more premier special teams players I've ever seen. This is not me talking to any of my scout friends just yet. I do know his profile is going to be UDFA, undrafted free agent to a late round pick. My thought process is he's going to be undrafted, but his talent is there when you see it on film. You could see him take space from a runner and get that person on the ground. Now he needs to wrap up more than he does, but I think he's years away from a team ever trusting him or a defense coordinator ever trusting him in space against a wide receiver. I see him in his end to the NFL being a special teams player. I mean, I can see him coming down on these new kickoff rules and being able to generate speed in a short amount of time. I see him doing that. I can see him covering punts. I can see him being a special teams maven. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people in the NFL that are traveling to away games just to play special teams. That's still there. And then they're an emergency player. I do think he could cover tight ends. I do think he can cover running backs, not very well. But with that being said, he still has a long way to go before he's an NFL starter, if that. I don't know if he's an NFL starter unless somebody's injured. Just keeping it real. But I do know he's an NFL player. You can see that on tape. Now, I think one of the things that just me as a former football player, I do know. I think there was something more going on with him in 2024. First of all, he broke his arm, his right forearm. That's going to be a medical red flag going into the next season, into the NFL season, because he broke that same forearm in 2023 against Oregon, and then he broke it again in 2024, and I believe he broke it against Nebraska. When he came back from that layoff, he was noticeably stiff. Not only was he didn't have rhythm, he didn't have his timing. He was just a stiff player. I don't know if something went on with his back or if something just wear and tear. Whatever the case may be, he looked way more stiffer and he was not able to move as fluidly as I've seen him in 2023 or before that injury to Nebraska. I think that's something that they're going to talk about. They're going to ask him about. Those are questions that he should expect and be able to explain. And, sometimes that happens when you have a layoff. It's hard to get back into that rhythm. And he just looks stiff at times, whether he's trying to make a tackle or covering in space. But the kid can actually fly around and hit people and will put his body on the line. That is something you can see in the NFL. And he's not necessarily the slowest kid. He's going to have a good pro day. I'm sure he's going to run under 4.5, and he's going to be able to show people that he can cover and that he can actually hit, because that's what's on tape. You're going to need a thumper on special teams, and I think he's going to be a perfect addition to somebody's roster. And it's maybe not traditional. He may not actually make the team. He may be on a practice squad being ready to get called up at any time or signed to another team to cover kicks or to be a special teams maven, which I know he can absolutely do. He's a smart player, he's a physical player, and he's going to be able to do that. But I'm not going to, sugarcoat it. For me, I don't think he's a draftable kid. I'm going to talk to my scouts friends. I kind of understand how they look at the game and their perspective. I don't think he's going to get drafted, but I do think as soon as the draft ends, you will know where he's going. He can fit in the scheme like Atlanta. I do know Atlanta likes the smaller safeties that are in the box that can play weak side as well. So I know there are going to be different teams like that. There's Pittsburgh, who really doesn't care. I mean, he has a lot of characteristics of a Pittsburgh Steeler, a person that's just going to come to work and fly and put their body on the line no matter what. So I do think Tomlin will have a look at him, especially once the draft ends. So it's just something to monitor. Hey, I think these are the things I think of when I've watched Shilo throughout the year. But if y'all think I'm tripping, if y'all think y'all agree with me, please leave a comment below, and please like, share, subscribe. We appreciate you all, and have a great one. Heritage Sports.